Hiya crafters, Amy here with amyswares, and today I'm going to make a stenciled sympathy card. Now this is one of the brand new stencils from the September release at A Colorful Life Designs. I have some cardstock, and here's a photo of the finished card so you can see where we're headed today. But basically I'm going to do some simple ink blending. I have my little makeshift setup here, and this is Blowing Leaves stencil. So this is one of many new stencils from the release. Be sure to check out the rest and all the awesome samples that came from the design team. There's so many cool things to inspire you with these new stencils. So basically I'm taking these brown colors. These are Catherine Pooler mini ink pads. And I do end up going for some grays as well. Now you will see it didn't quite go as planned. I'm going to show you what I mean in a moment here, and then also what I did to fix it. So I have some warm browns. I have this buttercream first. I have spiced, and then I also have s'mores. So those are the three brownish colors, and then I also have pebble here, which I'm going to use ultimately for a shadow, but that's where it kind of goes a little bit not to plan. So to start, I'm just going to do some very simple ink blending with these three brown colors, and I have my mini or my small, I can't remember if they're small or mini Altenew blending brushes. These I find I can lay down really deep saturated color, and I'm starting with the lightest color first, and then just kind of moving all over on the composition. So I'm going with the spiced color next, and then finishing up with the s'mores. Now the reason I got the gray is because I wanted to do a bit of a faux drop shadow. I wanted the leaves to look like they were popping off the composition, making them look 3D even though it was actually flat. And I'll show you what happened. I probably should have actually started with the gray first. I should have done like a light gray all over the whole design, and then shifted my stencil. So you can see here I have this first layer. I'm going to bring it up to the camera so you can see it. I'm just working on a panel versus a card base. And here you can see I just slightly kick over the stencil to the side. Now the reason I should have done this first is because essentially I'm going over the whole thing with gray. And it really muddied down and kind of dulled these beautiful, rich, warm colors. So once I get it where I want it, I kind of stick it back down. You can see there's just a little bit of edge of white, and that's all I wanted. I really just wanted the gray to be on the edge, like a drop shadow. So this is where I think if I were to do it again, and what I would suggest is that you start with the gray layer and do it just kind of light-handed, and then come over top of it with your actual top color. So you'll see here in a moment, once I'm done kind of with this ink blending with the pebble, it really just kind of muted everything and didn't really give it the shadow look. It kind of gave it like a weird blurry look almost. So I'll bring this up to the camera so you can see it. It gives kind of a weird blurred look. So what I decided to do was just line it back up to the original kind of ink blending. So not the drop layer or drop shadow layer. Lined it back up, which is easy to do, and then I'm going to come in again with these really kind of heavy-handed saturated colors, and thankfully that fixed it. I was a little bit nervous when I removed the stencil the second time, and I thought, oh man, I ruined it. But just stick it out, just play it. Worst case scenario, if you end up binning it, it's just paper, right? But it really did end up okay. So again, just if you try this and you want to drop shadow, do the shadow layer first, go a little bit light-handed, and then shift your stencil slightly and come in with the saturated color. So you don't have to do it 3 times like I did here. I ended up saving it, but yeah, save yourself the trouble and go that direction. I kind of contaminated that lighter ink pad, so it's just kind of pouncing it off with some paper towel. But here you go. So I get this cool drop shadow, but I didn't lose that saturated color. Now I want to cut down this panel. So I have it's kind of a deckled edge rectangle die. It's part of a really cool set from Altenew. It has this one deckled edge, and it has a couple other really cool, I think it's called mixed frame or something like that. I will link it below in the video description box. But here I'm coming in with a white gel pen just to add a little bit of accents. leaves aren't necessarily shiny, maybe unless they're wet, but I really like to kind of kick things up a notch and add some highlights with the gel pen. So I have the shadow layer with the gray and then some highlight with the white gel pen, and then just really kind of gives it that faux dimension. Now, rather than putting this on a white card base, I decide I want to grab this kind of craft cardstock. This is just a random piece from my stash. Use whatever you have. But this is actually another one of the new stencils. It's layered dotted something or another. I'll link it below. But this is just one of the layers from that stencil, and I wanted to just add a little something extra to the background. I didn't want to leave it plain craft colored. And here I wanted to fill it out a little bit more, so I just rotated it. So look at the stencils in your stash and see what you can mix and match, just to kind of, take your card to the next level. I have this 2-inch foam tape from scrapbook.com. I'm just going to put 2 kind of big chunks of that on the back of the panel to pop it up. And I did attach that craft layer to a card base. Again, that's 120-pound accent opaque. So this will give it some nice dimension for the front of the card. And now I'm just going to shop my sentiments. I wasn't entirely sure when I started that I was going to make it a sympathy card, but this one really fit the bill. So it's white cardstock on some vellum for the shadow layer. That is a Simon Says stamp die set that I got, and it worked perfectly for this composition. So I'm just going to center it on that raised panel. There's a little bit of overhang with the S and the Y, but I wasn't too worried about it. If you're worried, you could kind of support it with a little wee tiny bit of foam tape. But again, I felt it was okay. And now my favorite part is to embellish with some card bling. There are over 100 colors in the shop now, guys. So many to choose from. And I'm kind of shopping in the brown, metallic-y browns from the lineup. And I do end up choosing 2. I have metallic bronze and metallic coffee. I felt both of them worked, so I couldn't choose. So I used both. Put them down in an odd smattering on the card, and that's going to finish the design. So be sure to check out the September release. So many amazing fall-inspired stencils to choose from, and be sure to use my coupon AmyFan10 if you shop. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Bye.